Hi, come with me and Sam to Vegas, where we spent 5 days and 5 nights in September of 2025, and we collectively lost around $500, but honestly, I don't mind. That trip was so fun. I would go back again in a heartbeat, even if I had to lose another like hundreds of dollars. Low hundreds of dollars. We stayed at the Luxor, which is the Egyptian-themed hotel at the south end of the Vegas Strip, so it's one of the more affordable hotels that are still on the strip, and we managed to follow this itinerary for the most part, so I'm really proud of us for that because it really optimized all the things that we were able to do. And as soon as we got there, we checked into the hotel and then we headed to the Titanic exhibit. When we entered, there were like these fake tickets / boarding passes that we got, which were really cool. Had a real name of a passenger on their tickets, and it was really cool. We got to see the recreations of different parts of the Titanic along with a bunch of other artifacts. They even had this huge chunk of the Titanic that they managed to fish out of the ocean. They even had a recreation of the iceberg that sank the Titanic, and we were allowed to touch it to see how cold it was that night. And then when we were leaving, there were these quotes on the wall that were real quotes from Titanic passengers. "I will not be parted from my husband, as we have lived, so we will die together." And "Women and children first." Someone was shouting these last few words over and over again. They meant my own safety, but they also meant the greatest loss I've ever suffered, the life of my husband. I loved. Those were my two favorite quotes from probably the whole wall. And yeah, it was really sad and touching to read all those quotes from real Titanic passengers. When we left, they even showed us a huge wall of all the survivors and all the victims. And then it matched because when we arrived, we had tickets with the real names of Titanic passengers, so we were able to match our tickets to the wall to see if our people made it, and my girl survived, but Sam's guy didn't make it. Overall, really neat experience, 3 out of 5 stars. So after the Titanic exhibit, we headed to the bodies exhibit. They basically had real body parts and real corpses that they just displayed, I guess. I don't know how else to put it. It was like a museum full of real body parts. The entire time, I kept telling Sam, I was like, why do all these people look Asian? And like, turns out I wasn't crazy because they're unclaimed bodies that were from China. You really don't get to see body parts like that unless you're a surgeon or a mortician or something. And there were these 2 cute little plushies in the gift shop. This is of a booger, and then this one is of depression, the brain when it's depressed. I thought this one was much cooler than the Titanic one, 4 out of 5 stars. After we finished the exhibits, we got pretty hungry because we were on the plane the whole day beforehand, and we were like, okay, let's head out to get dinner. And our first Vegas restaurant was Gordon Ramsay Burger, and I was so excited because I loved Gordon Ramsay growing up. Mans was my spirit animal. I've gotta say, honestly, I was a little bit disappointed by the food. I mean, it was good. Don't get me wrong. It was really tasty. But for how much I had hyped up this burger and this man, it did not meet that caliber of hype, you know? So, I mean, if I didn't have such high expectations going into it, maybe I wouldn't have been so disappointed, and maybe I wouldn't only be rating this 3 stars, but I was a bit let down. So after getting let down by Chef Ramsay, we explored the rest of the hotel because the Gordon Ramsay Burger restaurant was part of the Paris Hotel, which was naturally the next stop in our itinerary. So we just walked around, explored it. It was the first, I think, casino floor that we ended up walking through. It was neat, it was pretty, it was cute. We were pretty tired though, so we headed back soon after. We just looked at the strip as we were walking back, and that was really nice. We opted not to do the Eiffel Tower experience because it was pretty pricey for the amount of time that you would spend there and the experience. And then we headed back to the hotel and slept so well.
Is this the art?
This is the Eiffel Tower. Okay, the second day was my absolute favorite in all of our time that we spent in Vegas, and we went to Area 15, which is essentially this huge warehouse that has a bunch of exhibits throughout. We bought this ticket that included most of the attractions in Area 15. Honestly, it was such a good deal because from the ticket, obviously the ticket looks kind of pricey, but when I tell you, like, we spent the entire day there. We woke up early just to get here right when it opened, and then we left like when it was closing, when the last thing was closing. We also did this John Wick experience. It was so cool. So basically, it's like you are in the John Wick hotel. Sorry, I don't know the John Wick franchise. I've never seen any of the movies. I may be butchering the explanation. We were part of the John Wick hotel, and we were wanted or something, and we needed to escape. And so we went from room to room with actors trying to help our characters escape, and at each room there was some sort of activity. So for example, in one of the rooms, it was like, because people were chasing after us, we had to train with guns, but obviously they were fake guns, but it was like a shooting simulation to prepare us to fight back. And then in another, oh my god, the highlight of it was like we were getting shot at, obviously simulated, and we had to run away and like hide in a van and everything. Amazing. I loved it. The pit of Area 15 for sure is Particle Quest. Basically, you just had these sticks with like phones attached to it that you went around the venue and you would scan different symbols with it and complete puzzles on the phone. There was a storyline attached to it. I don't know. I thought it was okay. A highlight was this one of the exhibits called Museum Fiasco, and it was a huge room where there were mirrors everywhere and there were a bunch of lights, and you got these glasses as you went in, and with the glasses it created a really cool effect to make the lights, it made the lights cool. And so we got some really cool photos in this area, and again, because we went on a weekday, there was no one in there except for us, so we just got pictures of just the two of us. 4 out of 5 stars. Another exhibit that was pretty cool was Wink World. It was cool, but it wasn't like a highlight, to be honest. But I got pictures of it, so I'm showing it. I didn't get pictures of every single exhibit because there was just so much going on. There were these moving art pieces that were synced with music. It was like watching an artsy music video in real life. 3 out of 5 stars. Okay, this next one, this was actually another highlight. This is one of my favorite exhibits at Area 15. It's called Dopamine. The storyline is like you're part of a research study, and they're studying, I think, different things that trigger your dopamine levels. How you go through the exhibit is a bunch of these interactive activities. If you've played like Rabid TV or Raven Rabbids, like, or things along those lines, it's kind of like that, where they're each a wacky activity, and it's just nonsense, but it's great. It's great. It's fun. It's wonderful. 4 out of 5 stars. Okay, so this was my favorite part of Area 15 by far. I could have spent 1 day at Area 15 doing everything else except for this, and then spent the whole other day, because the ticket covers 2 days, and then I could have spent the entire other day at just this location. So basically, when you go in, it's just a fake supermarket where all the items are wacky things that don't really make sense. And then as you go deeper into the store, there's like multiple entrances into the back part of it, right? And the most iconic one is this refrigerator this place went pretty viral back in the day, so you've probably seen it. You go through this refrigerator and you end up in this whole other part of the store, and everything is tied together through all the lore of this universe, because this company found these portals, and these portals leaked special juices, and they were able to use these special juices and infuse it into all the products that they made, and those were that was why the products that they were selling in the supermarket were so wacky and weird. It's because they were infused with juices from these portals. The company, it was family owned, and then the daughter tried to take over. There was like a supernatural side of things. There's a corporate conspiracy side of things. Then also, the daughter who tried to take over the company actually also had a daughter, and her daughter was somehow born from the special juices from the portal, and then she went missing. So then there's like a whole like missing person case. There's so many angles to it. And other than that, the entire experience, once you go past the supermarket inside, it's like an adult playground / art exhibit. I mean, everything was just so meticulously put together. There were details everywhere. Every little thing had meaning to it. And I really wish I could go back one day and spend an entire day in just Omega Mart, just so I could check out every single detail there and learn all the lore. Honestly, it was just so amazing. Like 10 out of 5 stars. And then lastly, we went to this like hot air balloon, they called it. It's called Lift Off, and it is a hot air balloon, but it's not like a hot air balloon where you go in and you stand in this like huge basket. It's just a table where you kind of all sit in a circle and then the balloon takes you up. I mean, it was still really, really cool nonetheless. We got to see views of Vegas. They took pictures for us. 3 out of 5 stars. Okay, so that was like the last thing we did, and basically everything was closed by then. We headed to dinner, and it was In-N-Out. It was our first time eating In-N-Out for both of us. It was like pretty good. Honestly, I didn't expect it to be so good. You'll notice I rated this 4 out of 5 stars, which is a higher score than I gave Mr. Chef Gordon Ramsay. So after that, we went back to the hotel and we had our first night of gambling. So that was really fun. Immediately, I lost around $100, and that was when I stopped because I budgeted like $100 per day of gambling money for 3 days of gambling, so like $300 max that I could lose. On Thursday, oh my god, on Thursday, we went to my favorite meal that we had, I think, in our time in Vegas, the buffet at the Wynn. Just walking around, seeing all the food and all the decor that was part of the food, that was amazing already. The ube at this buffet was incredible. I got an ube juice and I also got an ube crepe, and I was like, wow, I didn't know I could feel this way about ube. We literally didn't eat anything else for the rest of the day because we were so full from this one buffet. It was so bad. I really did not want to stop eating, but I was going to explode. I really had no choice. I want to go back and try even harder and not stop eating. I just want to eat completely the entire time until they kick me out. It was amazing. A solid 5 out of 5 experience. After that, we had to walk around definitely to digest our food, get some little sambo in, and we just explored the Wynn, and it was so pretty. And I mean, even the bathroom was pretty. I love going to rich, fancy, luxurious places and looking at their bathroom, and there were also fancy cars that they were, I don't even know if these cars were for sale or if they were for display for like decoration. But yeah, they just had fancy cars. The Wynn Hotel itself is really, really pretty. It's so fancy. It's one of the fancier hotels on the Strip. And then we ended up walking throughout the entire Wynn Hotel and ended up walking to the Venetian, which is also one of the fancier hotels. It's the Venice-themed one. I don't know what the theme of the Wynn is. It's just fancy. But the Venetian is supposed to be like Venice themed, and that's where the gondola rides were. This is also the hotel with the really nice, pretty fake ceiling. We did have gondola rides on the itinerary, but we ended up not going because they were so expensive compared to what I thought they were gonna be like when I was doing my research online before going on the trip, and it just did not seem worth it. Like, you're just on this gondola that's a fake Venice experience, and it was so crowded. The entire place was so crowded, and there was a line as well. You had to buy tickets, you had to wait for your time for your reservation. You were going to be inside for the base price. If you wanted to have the gondola go outside, you would have to pay even more. So I mean, it just didn't seem worth it, honestly. And then after the Venetian, we walked to the Sphere. The Sphere was okay. I feel like I've been saying the word cool so much to describe things in Vegas, but everything is just so cool. So the Sphere is this attraction that it's a theater experience where the entire screen is essentially the inside of a sphere. The movie that we were watching was The Wizard of Oz, and there were 4D effects too. So when Dorothy was swept up in her little twister, getting brought to the land of Oz, we literally had leaves and dirt and whatnot flying over. Every time the freaking Wicked Witch of the West showed up, there would be a really intense seat vibration, and every time the vibration scared the bejesus out of me. So it was really immersive, to say the least. Even the walkway or the gift shop part, everything leading into the theater part itself, when you're just walking into and out of the experience, even that area was really decorated and really cool. So overall, a solid 5 out of 5 experience. Then we walked from the Sphere to the Link Hotel. It's not my favorite in terms of the places that we visited, and I definitely would not have wanted to stay at the Link. All the shops were not indoors, they were all outside, scattered throughout, so like an outlet basically. It just wasn't my favorite. It didn't seem like there was much of an atmosphere or vibe that was like unique. Their attractions were the zip line. Their attractions were the zip line and the high roller, which is the thing that's a Ferris wheel but not a Ferris wheel. It was really nice because we went like right during sunset. It was amazing. It was perfect. We got views of the Strip and then also of the Sphere itself as well. This was my favorite thing that they were showing on the Sphere. I don't know what these little cats were doing, but they were amazing. Solid 4 out of 5 experience. And then of course we had to end the night by going back to our hotel and doing some more gambling. And on this night I actually made some money. So I was, well, obviously I lost $100 from the night before, but for the second night I actually gained some money. So I was at an overall loss, but for that day I was up. And then on Friday, by Friday, our trip was like literally halfway over already, and I was so sad. But we went to the pool. The Luxor had the pool, and when you go to these hotels, there's a resort fee attached to it. So if you just book the room by itself, it looks really cheap. But then when you check out and stuff, you pay the extra resort fee, and you can't get out of that. So I'm like, we paid for this pool. We're gonna freaking use this pool. That was fun. That was nice. And then we walked over next door to Mandalay Bay, and that is like an aquarium themed hotel. We went to this Mexican restaurant. It was so good. And then we decided to head to the Vegas sign, and boy was that a journey. It wasn't that long of a walk. It was only like 20-ish minutes. However, this was in the middle of the day. There was barely any shade. We were in denim. We were both in denim jeans and denim jackets. Cause like the vibe, like we're going to the Vegas sign, like denim just fit the vibe for some reason, I felt like. But like, holy crap, the walk there was so hot and sweaty because of that. And then once we did get there, we had to wait in this huge line to take pictures with the sign. And we were like, oh my god, who's gonna take our photo for us? Maybe I'll just ask people behind us. But there was actually a man there taking photos for people, and he wasn't even charging anything. He's just like, if you want to tip me, that's fine. If that's great. If you don't want to tip me, that's fine. That's cool. But I'll take pictures for you either way. So that was really nice. He took pictures for the both of us. And then we had to make a show, and so like we really didn't want to walk back because we would have to go back to Mandalay Bay and then also go like 2 hotels down to the Excalibur, which like we were hot and sweaty, so we just let's just Uber. So we Ubered back, and then we walked around, and we finally went to the show. It was the Mac King show. I did so much research on Reddit, and this is Reddit's favorite. This and that one Asian guy, but unfortunately, that Asian guy was not working. He had blackout dates when we were in Vegas, so he didn't have shows then. Reddit loves Mac King, and after going to his show, I can definitely see why, because that man is funny. He's funny, okay? He knows what he's good at, and he knows what his limits are, because he got all his, okay, not that they were bad jokes, they just like weren't as funny as the rest of his show, but he got all the not funniest jokes out way in the beginning, and then after you get warmed up, oh my god, you're hit like over and over with really cool magic, and also like so many, like me and Sam genuinely laughed out loud so many times. This man was hilarious. Solid 6 out of 5. And then we walked around the New York hotel, which is it's themed as New York. It sounds tacky, but it's actually really cool, because you go in and it's actually really nostalgic now, because like for example, they have this little street parking meter, and we don't have that in New York City anymore, because everything got more digitized, I guess, because these meters only accept coins, they don't accept credit card. So like I haven't seen one of those in so long, and so this was actually really nostalgic to see. And then also they had a roller coaster running along like just the ceiling, and it goes throughout the hotel. I don't know like how much throughout the hotel it goes, but I know that you get into the roller coaster in the arcade. There's an arcade in the hotel, and it goes from there all the way to like the casino lobby area. I don't know, it just goes all throughout the hotel. But we didn't do the roller coaster. Like everything in Vegas, it costs a lot of money, and I mean, it didn't seem like it was gonna last very long, so we kind of prioritized, you know, spending our money elsewhere. Oh, we also went to the Harley Davidson store. The best hack I can give anyone going to Vegas, if they don't want to break their wallet on freaking basic necessities, is buying your water from Harley Davidson, because let me tell you, the tap water in Vegas is so terrible. I really tried to tough it out when I was there and save money, because like I'm not rolling in dough or anything, okay? And I wanted to just drink tap water for free, but it was so bad. It just tasted like metally and stuff. So I gave up on the second day, and I just resorted to buying water bottles or getting water bottles from the casino when we were gambling. They must know how terrible their tap water tastes, okay? They must know how people want to drink bottled water. It costs so much money, except for at the Harley Davidson store. I don't know the price, I don't remember. It was just so cheap compared to like everything else. We went back to Excalibur. Oh, by the way, Excalibur is themed as like medieval hotel, a medieval castle. That's where the medieval times, that's not medieval times show is. Basically, it's medieval times. So we got to see these knights fighting. We got a dinner with the show, which was this like corn hen. The corn hen was really juicy, actually. It was really good. It's a Cornish game hen. I don't know why I called it a corn hen. And our knight ended up losing, but whatever, it's all good. Solid 3 out of 5, Tournament of Kings. And then since the Tournament of Kings show included our dinner, we went straight back to the hotel and we just gambled for our last time in Vegas. Okay, Saturday. Saturday was our last day of the trip, and I was so depressed to be going back. And yeah, so we checked out of our room. Luckily, you can just leave your luggage at the hotel after you check out, and then go back and pick it up when you're heading to the airport. So we did that. So we started by going to the Cosmopolitan, which is where Wicked Spoon is. Cosmopolitan is the hotel, and honestly, this buffet was kind of just meh. We weren't like that hungry, but also the buffet at the Wynn really just blew me out of the water, and the Wicked Spoon could not compare. The interior in general was just not as exciting. It was just a pretty standard like buffet interior, whereas the Wynn was spectacular and beautiful, and everything was it made me feel like I was in some sort of paradise. Whereas in the Wicked Spoon, I was like, oh, I'm at a fancy, nice buffet. And then also the food just wasn't as good. Like, I didn't even take that many photos of the food. It was nice. It was nice. That's it. They had nice dessert though. There was like a bunch of gelato, so that was cool. Overall, just 3 out of 5 stars. Correction again, 2 out of 5. And then we walked around, explored. There were some interesting art pieces throughout the hotel, so that was nice to look at. And then we walked over to just checking out some of the other nearby hotels that were pretty luxurious. The Bellagio was one of the other really fancy hotels. There was this really cool like chocolate fountain art piece. It's like how there's like running water, it's like running chocolate fountain. Also, this is where the conservatory was. So the conservatory is this indoor garden where they make a bunch of these really cool decorations with flowers. They change it every season, and they actually just changed it when we arrived to Vegas, and it was Saturday, so free plus Saturday in Vegas, hella crowded, but it was still really nice. It was really just really pretty to look at. Bellagio Conservatory, 5 out of 5 stars. And then we also saw a McKinsey child store, which I've never seen in person, so that was also pretty cool. We checked out the Bellagio fountain too, but I think it didn't look that extravagant because it was the morning. We did see it just off like on the street during the night a few times as we were just walking up and down the strip. It looked really nice. And then we went into Caesar's Palace, and the theme is, you know, Greece and Greek mythology, and just beautiful, amazing statues everywhere. The stores were luxury. We had a fun time in Gentle Monster, and then we did not buy anything. I would have been tempted again if I saw the same pair of sunglasses that I saw in Dubai that I really wanted. I was actually looking for those sunglasses again. I was like, you know, if I actually see those sunglasses again this time, I think the world just wants me to buy it. And so, you know, like, who am I to ignore the will of the universe? But then I, in fact, did not see the glasses. So the universe willed me to not buy them. So I did not buy any sunglasses. That's fine. We had fun in Gentle Monster anyway. Let us see. Oh my god, you look like Ishida from Bleach.
Oh my.
Oh, you want to unfold one?
Open it.
That's so cool. Transformers, but sunglasses. And then we headed to Mandalay Bay to go to the aquarium. It was really cool. It was the Shark Reef Aquarium, and they had the shark tunnel, so that was really nice. You got to see the fishies swim around you on top of you. But the coolest part, because like the shark tunnel is not uncommon anymore at aquariums, but the thing that I thought was cool is at the Shark Reef Beef Shark. The thing that I thought was coolest at the aquarium was this room where you walked into. You're basically in a sunken ship, so the fish were around you, but then also like there was a part of the floor that was glass and you could look under it, and then also like right above you too was more glass and the fish were above you, and like these sharks were just like chilling there. They were just resting above us, so we would see like their tail and like their nose that was made of bone. I don't know what fish. That's not a swordfish. A sawfish, I think. Also, I don't have any pictures of this, but the admission to the aquarium included a VR experience. So we got to go into this little theater. We put on VR headsets. We sat in chairs that moved us. Like when we were diving into the water, the chair would like go forward, so we'd be like, you know, in the shoes and in the flippers of the person. We were like in the POV of a scientist exploring the ocean and the coral reef, and then they had this cute little touch pool where Sam was touching these like manta rays. Did you get it?
No, I didn't get it.
Nice.
Yo, this one zoom in. This one zoom in. Yo, touched it.
Overall, 4 out of 5 stars. And then we got like really tired, and we also were getting kind of hungry because we didn't really eat too much at the Wicked Spoon because we weren't completely too hungry going into it. And I mean, the food was just kind of meh, which was unfortunate because it was pretty pricey still. But then we ended up going to, actually no, I was pretty full. I was still pretty full, but Sam was getting kind of hungry, so we went to Whosburger. I meant to say Whataburger. Whosburger is a burger chain from this anime School Rumble that I watched as a kid, so. And then we also got this Korean restaurant. It's supposed to be a Korean fusion. Apparently the chef is pretty famous. I did not know who this man was.
To say it, I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is. I mean, he could be walking down the street. I wouldn't know a thing. Sorry to this man.
This dish was pretty expensive. I don't remember the price, but it was not something that I would personally recommend. And then we also got this s'more from the New York hotel. We'd been eyeing it at like the station, or maybe me, it was maybe just me. I'd been eyeing the s'mores for like every single day that we had passed by, and I really, really wanted to get it. But every time we passed by, I was like, I'm not that hungry right now, or I don't want to ruin my appetite for this other meal later. So we never got it. But then it was like the last day, and I was like, oh my god, I need to eat the s'more before I freaking leave Vegas, because it was this like s'more booth that made the s'more in front of you, and you got to customize your s'more. You got to choose the cookie or something. You got to choose the chocolate, and I think you maybe got to choose something else. I don't remember. Maybe my memory of it is much cooler than it actually was. But the s'more was really good, but it was not easy to eat. It kept falling apart when I tried to eat it. And so I looked like I was eating poo-poo. I do not like to eat poo-poo, but this was a really good s'more. And then like that was basically the end of our trip, because then we had to go back to Luxor to grab our luggage so that we could get to the airport in time. And I was so sad to leave Vegas because it was so magical and it was so much more fun than I thought it was gonna be, because I didn't know Vegas could be so fun. Okay, let's talk about the gambling. Also, why am I here? Where am I? I'm in a Harry Potter room. But yeah, let's talk about the gambling. I budgeted $100 a day for 3 days to gamble in Vegas. And I use air quotes for budgeted because I budgeted very poorly. You see, what I did not take into account was that I would need cash to gamble at the tables. And I thought, you know, it's the 21st century. It was like 2025. I can do anything with just my credit card. I don't need to bring cash. And I was wrong, because that led to me needing to withdraw cash from the ATM or from the casino workers. And I even doing that, I did it so poorly, because every time you withdrew money, you were hit with fees, and depending on the amount that you withdrew, you got a different amount of fee that you had to pay. So why didn't I just withdraw $300 at once and get hit with that fee one time? Why did I withdraw money on multiple days? Because I did not think of that beforehand. I don't know why, but please do not make the same mistake as me if you go to Vegas. Oh my god. But whatever, that's the worst part, is the losing money part, obviously. It was my first time gambling, and I did not know how to play some of the stuff, or even if I knew how to play blackjack, it's kind of hard to sit in and then automatically feel like you know what you're doing, even if you know the rules already. Luckily, maybe it was because the Luxor was not that crowded when we were there that first day gambling. We were able to find a table that didn't have anyone there yet for blackjack, and we told the dealer it was our first time in Vegas, first time gambling. We didn't really know what we were doing, so she was very nice and she walked us through it, taught us, like, you know, this is like, actually I don't know, I don't remember what this means. I think this was hit. Yeah, I think this this was hit or something. And then like this is like I forgot what it's called, but like, please don't give me more cards. She was so nice that because I said it was my first time, obviously I was not experienced, and there were a couple times when I hit when I really shouldn't have, and she looked at me, she's like, are you sure? And I redid the math, and I was like, oh, no hit, stay. So that was really nice. I had fun playing roulette, but I did not win any money. I won some money here and there from blackjack, but roulette, I would just be flushing money down the toilet, and I would not play it again. Maybe I just don't know how to play it well. I bet on like black every single time, and then I use my other chips, my other money elsewhere, and I don't know, like at best I was breaking even, at worst I lost everything. I think the only thing that's fun about roulette is hearing the sound, because that's what drew me into was it seems like a really aesthetically pleasing game to play, because you get to watch this huge wheel spin, you get to hear the ball. The other thing that I really liked was the little thing that the dealer puts on the number that the ball landed in. On our last day there at an empty roulette table, I was like, hey, like it's my last day in Vegas and I'm not gambling because I've lost all my money already, but I would love to touch that little thing. So the dealer called like the floor manager over, and he was like, yeah, like she wants to like touch it. So then he checked my ID and then he let me touch it. And I don't know, I just thought it was so funny because he needed to check my ID to just touch it, because the same man has checked my ID like probably 10 times at least in our time in the Luxor in Vegas. And I felt really bad for him because like half of the time that he checked our ID, or more than half of the time that he checked me and Sam's ID, we weren't even gambling. But the thing is, if you are near the tables at all, then you have to be ID'd. It doesn't matter if you're going to be playing or not. So a lot of the time, me and Sam just wanted to watch other people play. And so we got ID'd. And then they would expect us to play, but we would just stand there watching. So I do feel a little bit bad that he had to keep doing this over and over because he already knew us, but it's his job, so he has to do it or he'll get in trouble too. But I thought that was funny. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. This is a very different style vlog than I've ever done, or video in general, because when I was in Vegas, I really wanted to prioritize being there and experiencing it, and so because of that, I didn't really have in mind the video and how I was going to edit it as I was there. So I ended up just taking a bunch of random, really small clips that like you could barely piece together, and that's why I ended up having to do all this voiceover. But I ended up liking this format a little more than I expected. It's been a bitch to edit though. And now that I'm a bit more comfortable doing voiceover, I might finally finish this video that I've started like probably 2 years ago by now. That's kind of just been sitting in my backlog because the times that I've tried to record, I was like so stiff and I was like, this is so awkward, I can't do this, and I just deleted all the footage. So maybe I'll finally be able to do that now. But yeah, that's everything. Thanks for watching. Bye!